are the gore. The galaxy is watching. We are the gore. The galaxy is watching.
Actually, I don't know if anybody's watching.
Nobody.
We're also not the gore. We're three guys on a couch.
Welcome back to the Star Wars Guys podcast.
Oh, man.
Wow. We are
The gore.
the
Galaxy is watching.
No, we are excited to dive into today's episode, today's podcast. There's a lot to get to, so we're probably just going to get right into it. Andor Season 2, Episodes 7, 8, and 9. Breakdown, discussion, review. There's so much to get to, so we're just gonna dive in. Overall thoughts. We usually start with that. Overall thoughts. I might be maybe I'm in the minority here, but I thought it was actually pretty good compared to what I've seen online.
I'm going to go out
Whoa,
and say
what
yes.
a Disney shill.
Hot take.
He just wants
Hot
some money.
take.
He
I
wants
think
that
it was
Disney
pretty
cash.
good.
She's just trying to get that
Get some more
money.
Kathy cash.
Kathy cash. Hey, they should do that, Kathy cash. It's her face
Kathy
on the
cash.
bill. You can cash it in for chips and stuff.
And on the back of the bill it says, "Thanks for supporting me. I'm actually not retiring."
Actually,
sweet.
not
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's so good. It is so
really
good.
speechless.
I totally understand a lot of the quotes from these major, publishing companies and stuff that have come out that have had, like, they're seen. Star Wars is posting them and stuff, all these
Yeah.
quotes saying, best, Star Wars of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it's up there.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is that good.
I love it. And Tyke is watching going, I'm not writing anything.
So
I'm
never
out.
mind.
I'm not doing another thing.
Like I said, I should have gone right before Acolyte.
Levy's like, I don't know.
Right after Acolyte.
I don't want to do another. Let's do another Stranger Things. Let's do something else.
Ryan, any ideas?
I don't know. Because
No.
I
It
saw
is
people
so
already
good.
saying,
Phenomenal.
I know Tony Gilroy said he's definitively done.
yeah,
But how big does the truck of money have to be to get him to say for them to
To
say
come back.
a movie,
Just,
another movie, please?
right.
Or I mean,
It's just incredible.
It's just, overall thoughts. I was thinking about this last night and even on the way over here when I was driving this morning. And we've said stuff before for other shows that we've watched on here. And we've said, man, best hour of Star Wars television I've ever seen. Or best, maybe one of the best things I've seen in Star Wars since Disney took over. One of the best things in Star Wars ever. This was one of the first episodes probably, or it might even be I don't want to say the only, because there's certain moments of other episodes that have had me like this, but I felt like I was really almost like speechless watching it. Like when I was watching it, I was not I think for other episodes of different shows, there have been great episodes, but usually those great episodes are defined by like a great moment or like Luke. Mando season 2, the Luke shows up for a good 6, 7, 8 minutes.
okay.
I am speechless, and I'm like, no way they're actually doing this.
right.
Yeah.
Because I kind of just didn't think the story would go there, or in reality that they would go there. This was like
this was rumored. We saw this coming, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
this was not
Anyway.
this was not a surprise that this was going to be an episode that I was very likely going to enjoy from basically what everyone was saying, but the way that it was shot. The way that the story was written, in the fact that it was 2.5 hours long. I mean, the joy I had. I mean, I was both tired because it was super late at night, but I was so thrilled when I've watched 2 episodes. When I watched episode 7, episode 8, and I go, all right, buckle up. Let's see episode 9. 58 minutes. Wow,
let's go.
we're gonna get 58 more minutes.
Yeah.
And the show just. I mean. This is one of the first, what I was saying is one of the first episodes I can remember of from the moment the episode 7 started to the moment episode 9 ended. I am literally just like completely it just has
in.
my, I'm so locked in. It feels like in a good way.
Yeah.
Feel like I
Yeah.
can't catch my breath. Like I'm
You're just on
sitting there
edge.
like
you're like
I'm
what
holding
is
my breath the whole
happening?
time, even when it's 20 minutes of just they add another part to this barrier before anything has happened in the courtyard of the Gorman massacre. They're adding these barriers. A TIE flies overhead, and I get scared. I'm like, are they going to bomb him? Like, the whole time, it felt like this. Again, there's so many of the specifics we'll get to, but it felt like I kind of can't believe I'm watching this because this feels so big, not just in scale of like, oh, they threw a lot of money on it, but it felt like this style felt even different in a good way from even the rest of this show, which I think the rest of this show has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Season 1, it was fantastic. This was kind of like from the very first moment of this episode. And now maybe there's a little bit of like I knew coming in to be super excited for it, but it was like from the moment this episode 7 started, and it felt like, oh my goodness, this feels like they know as a storyteller, like, buckle up, this is going to be a 2.5 hour thrill ride without it being just like bang bang boom boom. Like there's stuff like that, but it was, again, the storytelling of the people where I'm so invested in. It doesn't matter if it's Partigaz coming on there and he's talking to them about like some decisions where they didn't even let us hear his last conversation with Dedra.
Yeah.
And it just shows her taking off the headset, and she's like, "Where it go?" And then it turns to the other guy and he goes, "Fire at will." And you're like, "That's what he said?"
Yeah.
Like, it's just the whole time it was just crazy. I thought it was just
crazy.
insane.
You're absolutely right. We got some people in the chat. Hello, welcome. Darth says, Andor episodes 7, 8, and 9 is the best Star Wars content I've seen in my life, and I mean it. I'm 27 years old and grew up on the prequels, but man, this is another level. I love this show. And then another
So
in chat
good.
says episode 8 and 9 are rated 9.9 on IMDb. Man, it like you said,
deserves it.
It's just every single thing throughout these episodes is just phenomenal. The storytelling, and you can't do this. You can't do it in a movie. Like you can, but having the drawn out full season 12 episodes and being able to take what we just saw and like you can't get the 7, 8, 9 without having the rest of the backstory. It's not going to be as impactful. So being able to draw that out and lead to those 7, 8, 9 and be able to spend the time required and necessary to let those events and conversations take place on screen, it was just, it's unbelievable.
I agree. One of the things I found most amazing about it is this. We talk about the scale of it.
Yeah.
It's actually in the Star Wars universe. It's really small.
Yeah, it's contained.
It's
It's very contained.
It's one planet.
One planet.
It's one location.
Pretty much one
It's
part of
actually-
one planet.
It's
even, too.
horrific.
Yeah.
But it's a group of, I don't know, how many are there? 500?
500
Yeah.
maybe.
500?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they said hundreds in the courtyard, 1,000 or so in the streets. They said afterwards.
We
that
watched
had died.
planets.
Force
Alderaan.
Awakens whole system.
Alderaan is destroyed.
Yeah, the whole New Republic
Yeah.
system in Force Awakens.
This had an impact that we
Yeah.
haven't felt before.
Yeah.
Because, here's why I think it is. Because the large scale makes things feel less, it's
less
more
personal
it's
or
far
less-
removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This we knew the characters, we knew their stories, we knew the struggle. We also know where we're going,
Where we're going, yeah.
and they leveraged that. Gilroy
Yeah.
leveraged all of that
Yeah.
to make this more
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
And no Force users as in the battle,
Yeah.
the Golden
Yeah.
Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
No lightsabers.
Yeah.
No Sith, no Jedi, and it was part of that made it more real
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because it feels like we know this story. We know this story.
Yeah.
We've heard this story before.
Yeah.
This has happened countless times throughout history.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now we see it in this setting with people we care about and a future that we see it's coming. And we know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
And it's still, and maybe that's kind of like the Hitchcock thing when you show them the bomb under the table.
Yeah.
We know where
know
this
it's
is
there.
going. We
Yeah.
know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
So it just starts to build this tension.
Yeah.
And the fact that they brought these separate stories have now come together.
That's the thing.
In this one location. Even Mothma, who's not there, all eyes are now on this.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it's all
and
in
it's
Gorman now.
the rebellion is wrapped up in this. It's a memorial of the massacre that we see
Mm-hmm.
repeat itself, and Cassian's story comes kind of comes to a head here.
Mm-hmm.
Dedra,
Yeah.
and Cyril, their story comes to a head. All of the Gore rebels, Luthen, it's tied to this still, even
Yeah,
though
it
they're
is.
not there.
It is.
It was amazing.
Amazing.
How they, and again, it's a double-edged sword. I talked about this with my kids after we watched it. This is so crucial, and we watched the story of Cassian unfold. It diminishes, though.
Mm-hmm.
It diminishes Luke's role, right?
Well, yeah,
Luke's role is 3 days.
Yeah.
yeah, his is.
It does.
Yeah.
It shows.
Like,
it shows
Cassian's
Luke's.
been fighting for years.
It,
his
it
whole
honestly
life.
makes Luke
It's-
seem more of the like almost for lack of better term, I guess, like more of the prophecy fulfilled. Like
Mhm.
he comes in and he is the essentially. I mean, okay, Anakin's the chosen one, but I mean for the Yavin
Yeah.
Battle of Yavin, Luke is essentially the chosen one that shows up, utilizes it empowers the Force, I
Mhm.
think, and the ability that you have when you're someone special,
Yeah.
when you're Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
to be able to have an impact like that in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But it also highlights,
I don't know how
That
many
Luke
days
also-
it was. It was a short time.
yeah,
It was
I,
short.
yeah.
Yeah, it
But
feels
but
like
it
that.
also highlights.
Certain feels
It
like
also highlights how Luke also wouldn't have been able to even do any of that without all the prerequisite of what we're seeing play out.
Without all of these non-Force users
Without
just giving everything
giving
up.
everything. I think
it's tricky. I was watching it. I was just thinking that. Wait, Obi-Wan's. Wait, he's where?
I was thinking about
Oh,
Leia.
he's just on.
I'm like, Leia's.
Tatooine.
We see Bail Organa, and I'm like,
Leia's
Leia's
doing
what,
stuff.
16?
And she's in.
She's princess. She's in right now.
Yeah.
She's in. It just struck me.
One thing you said that I think you're talking about the scale, and I think I felt a little bit of both. I think the show, like you said, these 3 episodes feel different even than the rest of the show in terms of just the scale of it.
Yeah.
And I do think it parallels very well with the scale of just the production, the directing. Everything was just the acting in these episodes. There's a lot of emotion being played. So everything was just, the scale was crazy. But I think it parallels well with the story that's being portrayed in the galaxy, too. You talk about how in the world it is small.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is leading up to this point and why it starts feeling so much bigger in the world, because even though this is a small moment, we see the impact that's having in the Senate.
Yeah.
And in the Empire, we're jumping from this empire, like this person being affected in the Empire and this person, and then even like the tech guys listening in to them
Mhm.
making the calls to try and shut down the Senate and shut
Right.
down the broadcast,
Right.
and the media having a play. So it slowly becomes like, oh wait, this is, now you're seeing the scale of what is, relatively small, 500 to 1,000 people
Yeah.
in a galaxy that's so vast,
Right.
coming to, oh, it is literally growing in scale in world,
Yeah.
in Star Wars, as we're watching it unfold, that parallels the actual scope of the production and stuff that we're seeing play
You're right.
out.
the Uncle, you mentioned the way that Gilroy and the production team and the director of this episode and the writers and everybody, the way that they were able to I thought, successfully weave together these separate stories, these separate storylines, to now all eyes are on Gorman from obviously a Karn perspective, a Dedra perspective, Bix and Cassian, Luthen. We don't see Saw in this section, but we know that his people are aware of what's going on, because this is the big thing in the galaxy that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And what I thought was so interesting was the way that they did it in a Star Wars way, because obviously this is in Star Wars, but so much of this story, or of this type of story like you were referring to earlier, is stuff that we know, like that we're able to relate to, of, oh, we all know a news crew on site. We also know, without even getting into too much specifics or anything, we all know, like, oh, this news crew might be also influenced by someone to put stories out there to do something
absolutely.
that works for their
that
works
for
their
the
narrative.
Same exact.
And that's
Like,
what
it's
we see Karn recognizing as he's overhearing. He looks over and he's like, even
They're saying what they're saying.
even
Wait a minute.
Gorman or even the
Yeah.
Gorman media is saying what that's not right.
Mhm.
Like I know that's not right, and I'm
Yeah.
playing both sides.
Right.
And I've been duped. And like you're, and basically he looks at him as like, you're in the know about what's going on. Essentially, at least
Mhm.
to an extent where you're buying into this
Yeah.
to play your role, and I'm like, don't even know what's going on.
I thought the time
Corrupt.
jump was. I mean, we've done time jumps in each of these chunks of episodes, but I thought this one in particular was really interesting because there was a lot of. I mean, there's enough there for us to piece together what had happened or what are some of the missing things. But as we're rewatching in the background here, like Karn's falling out with the Gorman front.
Yeah.
I was wondering, did you guys take that as in the moment people piece together as this is going, as this is unfolding in the moment? Those people are like, oh, this, you had to have been a part of this, or was this? It sounded like he was maybe already kicked out of this group.
Yeah.
Because when I can't remember the daughter's name, but the
Ends up.
yeah, when she sees him, she's like, what are you doing here? And immediately not like, oh, Karn, it's good to see you. Are you
Right.
Are you
Yeah.
helping it? Like he's not working with them anymore, or they're not even.
It's almost like they
under
wished
that
he would have
front.
quit his job and like gone all in, but he's like, no.
And then obviously
I'm
when,
still on the, I'm still working. I'm still I have
Right.
ties to the
when
empire.
when he's confronted there, and he throws the Gorman front leader to the ground. And throws him. He immediately grabs his chest and he's like, "You! How dare you even show up here?" And like starts getting mad at him, like, "You scumbag! I can't basically like knowing like you
Yeah.
betrayed." And he even said, "How could we be so foolish? How could we?" So like he knows like, and Karn doesn't deny it in that moment. I think
No.
Karn's like.
He's
Karn's
that
like,
is really the beginning of him trying to piece everything together.
Yeah, well, he's
Where
now
he's like,
realizing
even
whatever.
I've been
I'm not in the
dark.
know of what's
I'm-
going
yeah,
on.
I don't even know. Like
and the
I
most
can't
frustrating
rebuttal,
thing to him is not that he's not in the know; it's that he knows that Dedra is and
Yeah.
did not tell him.
and he can't even like rebuttal because he's like, I don't even know what I can tell you because I don't even know.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on.
I-
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love Cyril, especially because he answers the question. For me, he answers the question: how does a person get pulled into this thing? How do they find themselves
Yeah, how
supporting
do you get there?
something so evil?
Yeah.
And he was of the naive mindset, I believe, that the Empire was actually bringing peace and order
Yeah.
and justice.
Yeah, because he's from the first moment we see him,
So
he's all
he's-
about. He just
he's
says, "I'm
all-
just law and order. I'm just
And he,
peace
right,
and
Yeah.
and he is there.
Yeah.
He says, "I was here to root out the outside agitators
Yeah.
that are causing all of this trouble, that have come in from other planets and are
Yeah.
stirring up
Yeah.
discord."
Mm-hmm.
And he realizes that in this process that he is the cog in the wheel, or just a piece that's helping the Empire do their real mission, which is conquest
Yeah,
Yeah.
and power.
Yeah.
And what's most heartbreaking for him is that he helped this happen, and the one he loves most in the world used him to accomplish it without him knowing.
yeah.
She knew and didn't tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And so rumors of an armada, rumors
Yeah.
of mining
Yeah.
tools are real, and it's an ultimate
keep-
betrayal because he
even-
thought they were together on this.
Yeah.
She's not. She's part of the.
Even
she's
to the
part of
final
the
conversation,
thing.
she's like, "It's not that's not true." And he's like, "I can see it. We know they're
Mhm.
coming in. Stop lying to me."
And she's still thinking, well, we benefit from this. And he is still thinking, but this is wrong. This is
evil.
wrong. We're not doing good here. We're not helping anybody here. We're just taking over.
Yeah.
What does he say to Dedra?
And-
Say the rumors again. I'll throw you off the balcony.
Say-
I'll throw you out. Yeah, I'll throw you off the balcony. Say the rumors again.
Say
See,
the
I
rumors.
And she
again.
actually-
played on
Crazy.
his day, played on
Yes.
his biggest. That's what felt so.
Yeah.
His biggest weakness is to feel needed
Yeah.
and to be important.
Mhm.
And they
And
played
they
him.
use that. Both of them
They both
use
did.
that
Yeah.
to have him infiltrate this small
Mhm.
group, gain information so that they can figure out the right
Yeah.
time to launch this thing to get them to
Yeah.
rise up. And not only that, but he gained friendships in this group.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think he began to care about them because he was
Yeah, I
still
think so.
thinking,
I do too.
we're on the same side here. We're trying to get rid of these
Yeah.
troublemakers.
Yeah.
They were part of the rebels, but
yeah.
Anyway, it was the biggest betrayal that Dedra was the one who
And
was
not only that-
facilitating him.
Not
it's
only that,
using him.
he even
It's
asked
awful.
her in conversation, "How long have you known?" And never once does she actually tell him, "I'm the one who actually thought of it.
Yeah, it was my idea.
Not only have I known the whole time, it was my idea."
But in her
That is-
mind,
That is
I think
so
in her
crazy.
mind, she didn't know his heart either. She thought he would be. He was.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is good. We're good. This is. I thought this is what we want.
I think
Like,
part
this is
of-
a
I think
big.
it's
This
part
is a
of that.
big deal for us. Yeah.
He doesn't.
I think it's part of that.
She
I
doesn't
think
understand.
He's
Dedra.
really
Yeah.
great.
I think it's part of that. I think Dedra came to a place where they teased, I think, leading up to it, that she was struggling with it,
Yeah.
with knowing what was coming.
It
'Cause
went too far.
They show her even after, like, she gets off comms multiple times of like struggling about so even she, I think, recognizes
She's
this
not-
is wrong.
She doesn't
but
want
you
to
see-
massacre
you see-
innocent people.
You
Yeah.
see both sides of someone who were both, her and Karn, I would argue, knew it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But she sees and is looking at,
She's deeper
this is
in.
the excuse. We're given orders.
They're going to
and-
do it anyway.
Yeah, she
That's
said they're
what
going to
she
do it
said.
anyway. So we may as well profit from it.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do it anyway, so we may as well, partake and get the luxury of getting out of here. and
Right.
going and living the life we want. But we see the side of someone who's willing to justify what they're doing and someone who's willing to throw it away and be like, this is wrong.
Mhm.
And that's Karn. I think one thing we can do, because there's so many different either moments or even character arcs in these 3 episodes, is if we just kind of go from whether scene to scene, and we can jump around if we want, but if we go from moment to moment or even character to character and kind of break down some of this stuff so you can touch on, because there's so much to get to.
Yeah.
We don't even have
I
time
think
to go
I
through
think
it all,
characters
but
might be a good way to do it.
I think
Yeah.
so.
'Cause we'll touch on,
Just starting back a little bit in the timeline of these episodes, we can start, and we don't have to spend too much time on each thing, but it comes full circle. So the healer, the Force healer,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
And
haven't
Bix.
touched on that at all yet.
Bix. So if we want, we can discuss a little bit about Bix, the impact of the Force healer, and how that leads to her getting out. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, I thought that was Keller and Beck sitting there for a second. That looked like
I know.
that looked like
yeah, it did.
Ahmed Best.
It
It
did.
did.
was sitting there, and I was like, "What? What do we got going on here?" And I started doing the timeline in my head, like Keller and Beck. That was post.
I love the healer because it
But he did. Yeah, he did
leans into
The
this.
order.
But Keller and
Yeah,
Beck
yeah.
would have been. This would have
It would've
been
been-
way. This is
Yeah.
way before. This is like 15 years or so before.
He would
Yeah,
have been
'cause
pretty
that-
young.
Or no, you
No,
mean after?
this is
no,
after.
this would be after.
This is after.
True, because we haven't seen him after. I mean, we
Keller
haven't
and
seen
Beck
him after. This
is
would be around the same time.
fleeing from Order 66.
But I actually thought I need to rewatch it because when I was watching that, I
That's
was
right,
like, that looks
because
just
it's
like
in-
him, 'cause
it's in-
it
Order
did look like
66.
him.
The
yeah.
moment the story is later.
This is
but it's
before.
looking back.
Looking
Keller
back.
Beck was looking
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's I don't know if it's on purpose. We know that the Force is not a topic of discussion in this,
Yeah.
and it's almost like I believe Cassian might be Tony Gilroy's mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
Cassian is speaking
Yeah.
the words
Yeah.
that this
I thought this
Force
was
thing
great.
is stupid.
Yeah,
Force
that's a
thing is
good-
ridiculous.
That's a good comparison.
Why is this even a discussion? This is stupid. It's not a part of the show from the outside, but on the inside, Cassian thinks the whole thing is a bunch of nonsense,
Yeah.
which is so great because we've never seen any evidence of that. It's never.
No.
It's this rumor thing, it's this weird thing, and they make it so subtle. But Bix is a believer. Bix has got the heart of someone who
She's open-minded.
sees it. There's a bigger
Yeah.
world out there.
And I think this.
Cassian's just straight up, man. It's
Yeah.
black and white.
And what I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
this show did really well with the Force, with that Force discussion, is that it was kind of a throwback to me of, because I think we've sometimes I think sometimes these shows, whether it's with Ahsoka or not even Ahsoka, but like we've had so many Jedi since the original trilogy because we went back to the prequels and we
Right.
got a bunch of them,
Yeah.
that I like the idea of going back to Obi-Wan's original talking about the Force, of it not just being this thing that Jedi wield or I mean Luke says that obviously, and in
the Jedi don't own the Force.
They don't own the Force, but I also like that people forget, and I think Rogue One does a great job of it too. So I like this because it's not a fluke that Tony Gilroy did Rogue One and
there
did
are
this.
those that are in tune with the Force.
Yeah, that it
aren't.
is energy. It surrounds us and binds us, and penetrates us and binds the galaxy together. That it's amongst all living things. There is, the Force surrounds us in Star Wars, and so I thought this was such an interesting way of showing Cassian's, of like talking about basically about the Force has a very specific purpose for you. When we talk about the will of the Force, sometimes we think of Luke Skywalker and
that's right,
and Palpatine or
not
the
a Force user, but
you're not a Force user, but they are people who are very important. I mean, like I think you could make an argument that if this healer had touched Han Solo, she'd feel a similar thing. It's not a fluke that this guy lucks his way out of everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That there's something to you.
Which is what Bix says.
And
there's something more here for
not
you.
luck.
It's not there's a purpose for you.
In my
here.
experience, there's no such thing.
Exactly. And so I thought it was great because in that moment, Cassian doesn't have to be a believer, but also us as an audience who knows his true importance and what's ahead of him.
Yeah.
And we know she doesn't say what she saw, but when she touches him and she saw something, we start thinking, "Oh, did she see what's about to come for him? Did she see?" And she explained. I also thought it was great because I think sometimes we get into this like exclusive club of the Force of like, well, I trained to be a Jedi and did this, so now I can tell you about the Force. Where this Force healer was kind of like stumbled on over there. Kind of was almost like
called.
I'm not sure why, but I just felt. I just felt. I just felt your presence here, and the Force in this last 20 seconds told me to walk over and talk to you, but not like I know exactly who you are, Cassian Andor, and this is why you were here, and like it's not some big prophecy thing, but like I'm just influenced in that moment to go over and talk to you, and then when I loved again the writing in the show is insane. I thought this episode was this chunk of episodes was so good, even talking about some topics that we've heard talked about before. But the Force, when she was saying that other people, and I'm going to butcher the exact thing, but about how other people bring, baggage from their past and stuff along with it, or like they have stuff that they're constantly looking back to, that he's someone who collects and moves forward and brings people along with them, and that he is
you call him a messenger,
and that he's someone who and it's funny because when she says that, Bix is like also is crystal clear to Bix because she's like, oh no, I've seen him, like I haven't been able to explain it either. I've never thought of it in a Force perspective way, but there's something special to Cassian I can't explain,
right?
And other people recognize it even when he doesn't recognize it in himself, that he's not just another soldier,
right?
There's a reason why.
Even Val's like, he's a leader now.
He's a leader. He's and
he's the whole time Cassian's like, I'm getting out.
And that leads us to
the whole Bix stuff at the end.
The Bix where she realizes that, and this Force user, the Force healer, is what pushed her to that decision.
That
she couldn't shake it after that. It was like she had seen.
And I thought,
well,
why wouldn't she stay and say, let's stay together? But the reality is, he can't have two. He can't have. He would have his
double life.
He would be continually. He's always thinking about how he can protect her, and if the decision came down, he would lean. He would choose her in the moment.
Yeah. It's the Spider-Man superhero girlfriend conundrum of
That's
as long as I have someone that openly I care about, my enemies that will always be the thing that in that moment my judgment will be. Do I do the thing to help everyone or do I protect her?
Yeah.
Is this the last we see of Bix at all?
Unfortunately, I think so.
Feel like it is.
I think it might be.
I think that message is her goodbye. I don't think we see her again.
Which I would be. That's a good way to go out.
Yeah.
I would rather that be the.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna jump another year now.
Because now he's not fighting to avenge Bix.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to be his purpose.
No. He's really.
Because that's really kind of selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's fighting to it, it's more his own mission.
It is more revenge.
Yeah. And now he's still thinking about helping people be free.
Yeah. I think.
More noble.
Yeah. I think that's the last we see her acting. The message FaceTime that she leaves.
Yeah, right.
For
So good.
Cassian, it's just unbelievable. It's
And the
so
way that
good.
was
Awesome.
shot too. Again, the direction of this episode of like just the close up
And the time lapse of him running, but then
Yeah,
also
the
him
running
listening.
and then listening and running and showing the aftermath
Man,
of it.
it's just so good. Okay, I know we got to get to some
Great.
other moments and characters, but we touched on it a little bit, so we can just kind of finish some of this conversation. But Dedra and Karn, we can kind of put those two together.
Yeah.
Dedra and Karn.
The end of Karn.
The
We didn't
end of
talk
Karn.
about-
We'll dive into it. Karn's story. It's funny because Karn has me in such mixed emotions from the beginning. He was kind of crazy, and then he literally went down this path of this guy might be like come the worst of all of them. Like
Mhm.
there's a moment where I was like, I could see him working his way up and just becoming like
Yeah.
just crazily psychotic.
Mm-hmm.
But they remind you again of like he really is. He felt unstable at times. But then they remind you of his whole purpose of why he even got into this in the beginning was always geared towards like order and trying he was, wrongfully brought in essentially. He was lied to, but he always sought justice. Even with, from the very beginning. But through that always blamed Cassian for everything that went down.
Yeah.
And so there's a handful of different things that we can dive into with
sure.
this. But jumping to his moment with Dedra, the moment where we see him really piecing everything together and realizing what's actually going on, him being left in the dark, and him recognizing all of these, like, what is about to happen, and she knows and I don't, and he just goes straight to her. One, I think it's all led up to the building of his character. He's been somewhat of a kind of a pushover, trying to gain people's respect and just be recognized for anything, good or bad. He was like, they even teased it earlier, this is the best day of my life, because he was recognized by the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see it all lead to him just being a tool for evil, just totally had him flip switch of change of heart, change of character. This is what is going on.
And is still always kept at this insignificant level that
Yeah.
just eats at him, that even in that moment when, multiple things at the end set him off, but he's always tried to prove, other people move up and they're all about power, and obviously Dedra's like getting promotions and doing that. His
You
is
didn't
more
seem
like,
to mind the promotions.
Yeah, he really just wants recognition.
He
like,
really does.
not even like
From
not,
his mom, from
and
her.
not in like in a different way than like Krennic wants recognition, because he's like, tell the Emperor, because I
want
want to
power.
move up. I'm trying to become a Grand
Yeah.
Moff. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get like
Yeah.
I'm trying to do all this. Where he's just like, my whole life I want to be one of the guys, and you guys just won't let me in the club. Like, let me be
And
one of
now
the
I'm
guys.
recognizing
Don't
how
you
evil
understand?
this
I'm more
is.
devoted than you
Yeah.
are. And people are like, well, easy guy. Like
Yeah.
even from
Right.
the very very season one,
Yeah.
when he's like,
Relax, let it go.
there was an unknown person who killed 2 of the drunken officers last night. Like, what is going to be done about this? And the guy's like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. This stuff happens. He's like, it's law and order. We have to. And he just like
Yeah.
starts freaking out about
Yeah.
it. And the 2 moments though at the end of this are such a shot in the heart to him. Like, is obviously, we've just talked about it a bunch, but the Dedra, like him, both the betrayal of Dedra not telling him,
Mm-hmm.
but also in that moment, it's also a realization again of, for him, again, I'm at the bottom of this totem pole of,
Yeah.
even amongst my own relationship with my girlfriend. She's way more, not that I thought I was more important than her or anything, but like I thought we were in this together.
Yeah.
I was a
not.
pawn. I was the
Yeah.
pawn again.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
She
know what's
used
going
me,
on.
yeah.
I'm just like everyone else in the street, not knowing what's happening here.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate Cassian. I've devoted my entire life,
Oh
or
my
my
gosh,
entire
I love
adult
that scene.
last 5 years plus, to getting this guy, no matter what. And I'm fighting him. I'm hitting him with
Blaming
everything
him
I
for
got.
everything that's happened.
I've got a blaster pointed right at him to kill him. He's like, man, who are you?
Why are you
he's
trying to
like,
kill
Why are
me?
you trying to kill me? Who are you? And he's like,
Oh, and he realized what in the
what,
world?
are
I've
you
let
kidding me?
this anger and frustration towards this man who doesn't even know me
Mm-hmm.
And it's
impact
like,
my
I'm
entire
gonna take
life
a-
leading to this
I'm gonna
point,
take
causing all this.
a slightly different path here.
oh, the path?
Ooh.
He's going to
The
take the
path.
path.
Cyril
Quinlan
Karn.
Voss. Quinlan Voss.
Quinlan
Quinlan Voss.
Cyril Karn is one of my favorite characters because Cyril Karn is the good guy.
Ooh.
Cyril Karn is the good guy.
And who's the bad guy? Wizard of Oz?
Cassian Andor is the bad guy.
Ooh.
Imagine that we are British, and this is our country.
Hello, governor.
This is our country. And these American upstarts want to separate and form their own government and kick us out. And there are 2 officers in our country who are murdered by some upstart criminal.
Yeah.
And we know it happened. Who's the bad guy? If we say that guy needs to be arrested and tried, and they go, "What do you mean? What's the big deal? Come on, they probably deserved it."
Yeah. They
And
go,
we
wait
think,
a second.
wait a minute,
What are you talking about? Yeah.
and it's true. He killed both of them.
Yeah.
Cassian murdered
Yeah.
2 officials.
Of the law, essentially.
Two
Yeah.
law. Now they were corrupt,
Yeah.
but remember, Cyril doesn't see the world that way.
No, he essentially
No,
killed
no,
2
no.
cops.
These are
That's
2
what it was,
police
yeah.
officers that he killed. One of them in cold blood.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
Cassian's the bad guy. We got to try to remember at the beginning. He still is a bad guy.
I mean, Luthen
He
says
just
it.
has a bigger goal.
Luthen even says it in his speech in the first season of, I'm essentially cursed to use the tools of my enemy against
That's
against
right.
them. Like, I know that I'm doing. He even says, like, I'm darned for what I do.
Mhm.
Like, I
For sure.
I
So
know
Cyril is
that I'm
actually
doing
trying
wrong.
to bring about justice,
Yeah.
and no one cares. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And in the process, he also is dealing with this complex of wanting to be useful, needed,
Yeah.
important, to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
It's partly because of recognition, but it's also, I think, there's an innate sense of, I want to see justice.
I want to see the
done.
right thing done.
He doesn't
Yeah.
know the intricacies. He's so naive. He doesn't know the intricacies that the Empire is
He doesn't
doing
know the
evil.
Empire doesn't care
No.
about
He's
justice.
and
yeah.
at this point, remember, he's not with the Empire. He's with a corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these guys are killed, and so he sets out on this quest to
Yeah.
find justice, and he finds someone else who also wants to find Cassian Andor,
Yeah.
who also wants to bring about justice, who wants righteousness done, and he watches them on Ferrix. What happened on Ferrix?
Oh yeah. They overthrow.
They have a funeral and they start a riot. They literally, they throw a bomb and blow up the thing, and they
Yeah.
start. And when he comes to arrest Cassian, what does Cassian do? He kills the officials
Kills
that are
the other
helping
guys,
him,
yeah.
and they escape. They get away.
Yep.
And then he's helping Dedra root out the people from the outside agitators who are coming in here to
Yeah.
also disrupt peace and order on Gore. So it's only when he realizes, wait a minute, they're doing evil here, that he realizes, I'm not actually on the side of the good guys.
No.
They're both bad guys.
Mhm.
They're killing innocents.
Yep.
They're killing innocents. Nobody cares about justice or law and order. They're all trying to get what they can get. And Cassian, that's the moment right here. Cassian is the one who started it all for him.
Yeah.
All of it went off
Yeah.
the rails with Cassian. So
It did.
And what's funny is his relationship with Dedra is only built on their
on
chase of
that
Cassian also.
mutual
Yeah.
That's
idea.
it. Like
and
that's
Yeah.
that went away too.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that moment he lost.
He lost
all of it.
everything.
And then underlying all of that is this sense that he has a need to feel important.
Yeah.
And a lot of us do.
Yeah.
A lot of us have a need to feel like what we do in life matters.
Yeah.
And in the very last moment, he realized that none of what he did mattered. He never brought him to justice.
No,
He lost-
not only did it not matter, it was actually harmful.
Harmful. He lost the
Yeah.
girl. The Empire is going to win, and he doesn't even know who he is.
No.
Yeah.
It's most
It's tragic.
And
the
he'll
most
never be
tragic
and he'll never
character.
be Uncle Harlow.
Never
No.
be.
never be Uncle
No.
Harlow.
And it's tragic because I really do think they portray it in a way that the moment he recognized all of this and has a change of heart
Yeah.
is when he's looking
too
at
late.
Cassian and he starts lowering his gun only to be killed.
Even with Rylands, he's so angry
Yeah,
because
Rylands
he was like,
was-
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
Don't you understand? I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
We're on the same side here.
And
you
let's
think I betrayed you?
And that's the one who kills
I
him.
got betrayed.
And let's
I wasn't
face it,
trying to do
let's
that.
face it, Rylands
Yeah.
was so naive.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah.
naive.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was amazing. I mean,
Right.
I think even
Yeah, he was.
Karn and Partagaz, all of them are like, unbelievable. This is working.
No,
like these people really
Buying
are
the
not
whole
ready for
thing.
rebellion. We're having to
No.
get them there just to make this rebellion happen for
Right.
for the Empire's own sake. We're having to like fund them, like give them info, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, maybe we do it like this, like, and it really
Guide
Yeah.
them to
do
it.
like these.
And then
and
he
these
figured
people
it
are
out at the end,
so-
like, wait a second. Oh, wait. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
They want this. So anyway, that may be a little too far for but I do think, Cyril, the underlying aspect when the Empire went too far, there is the sense of justice in him
Oh, absolutely.
that I think is more in line with righteousness than Cassian's.
Well, I mean, if you
I
think
think
of, I'd
Cassian's
have to
willing
go
to do
point. I'd
anything
have to go point
Yeah.
by
to
point.
do the
Yeah.
rebellion.
I'd have
Karn
to
never
go-
questions that he's put it this way. Andor and Bix struggle with the fact that they know that there's things that they're doing wrong.
Yes.
And Cassian's gotten to the point where he's like, "What's the difference between
Mhm.
he was coming after you, or kind of like, what's the difference?"
I have to kill
They've
him.
had to wrestle with. I know we're doing things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Karn ever questioned himself doing something wrong.
No, he was.
He never realized entirely what he was doing. He
naive. He was
always
so naive.
thought that what he was doing was right.
Was
Well,
doing
that's the
helping.
thing is we
Doing the right thing.
associate
Yeah, always.
him because of his he does have weird behavior.
He does.
Yeah.
And especially in season 1 when he was really getting started, he had this creepiness about him of just the way he moved and talked and acted and all this. But if you really made a list of the bad things he's done, I think it's a short list.
It's a short
Like,
list.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, it's much easier to go, oh, no, Dedra worked with the evil doctor who tortured Bix.
That's right.
Immediately, you know Dedra's bad.
For sure.
yeah.
When you go to him, you're like, well, I know he was on the bad team, so you're like, that's a point in
He
his
didn't know
column.
that
But
was
then you're
going
like,
on.
what are the things he's done? Well, we're really only introduced to him once murder happens,
Right.
and he's the detective on the case,
Mhm.
and he's
Yeah.
he's just following the
Trying to figure
lead.
out-
And
He
because
was
we
a
know that he's
bureaucrat.
after,
He worked in the bureau, but
and
he
so
was
yeah,
in
and
a
so if
desk.
you really go, if you and like, he's not actually cutting corners. Like
Mm-mm.
he's the one who's like, this our bureau's cutting corners. Why are we not?
Why are we
Why are we
doing
not
this?
following through on this?
Right.
And everyone else is like, oh, easy uppity guy, and he's like, do we not care about people dying?
Yeah.
So like it's really interesting because when you put it like that too, like it's
Man.
there's not a whole lot on the ledger in the column of what he's done that's just pure bad.
And I
Other
think
than we
that's-
know that he is against Cassian, and we are
Yeah.
But
we're made to
Cassian
root
was,
for. But we're made to root for Cassian because we
That's
know Cassian
right.
ends up on the rebellion.
Cassian's on the rebellion.
Yeah.
But this show starts with Cassian murdering people.
Mhm.
Also, Rogue One starts with Cassian murdering people.
Yeah.
One of the good guys.
One of the good guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
true.
and in that moment, he does kind of a Luthen thing
He does.
because he murders the guy not because this is some bad guy, because he's a liability.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ah, help! And he's like, "Oh, you can't. You're not gonna.
You can't
You're gonna
climb?
hold us. You can't climb. Okay." Poof. Like,
He's gonna give it away if we don't.
do we
Yeah.
want to transition into some Luthen talk and Mon Mothma? I
Yeah,
know we
let's
got
do it.
others,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Luthen,
yeah.
especially as we're heading into
Mon Mothma.
which one first? You want to do Mon Mothma or Luthen?
I don't care.
Either. Let's do Luthen.
Let's do Luthen real quick.
Save Mon Mothma because we
He
got
had
a
a
lot
smaller
there.
role,
Yeah.
at least in the background.
Smaller role, but the moments that happened were pretty
Shouldn't say
massive
smaller
as
role,
far as
smaller presence.
yeah, so, and less
Big
screen,
role.
fewer minutes of screen time for sure.
I think I look at Luthen a little differently after these 3 episodes.
Explain yourself.
Yes, please.
Go.
I think for all this time they've
Oh,
continued,
burn, burn, burn.
they've continued to show that he is more Saw Gerrera like,
Closer to that end.
closer to
Yeah.
that end of
I think so.
you're a liability. Kill this person. Kill this person. Wipe this out. Even to the point where in these episodes, Mon says, "I'm more terrified of you than anything else."
Mhm.
So they're highlighting this, but then I look at him a little differently because they bring it back to he really did. He really was right. He really followed through with
Mhm.
I'm sending one of my own.
Yep.
What the
He came
intel I'm telling you about
He
Bale
does
is
have good
true.
intel. He always has good intel.
The intel I'm telling you about Bale is true. We find out it's true.
Mhm.
He really did care about getting her out. He always cared. Now, you can argue whether you agree with Mon Mothma or whether that was more emotional what she said of you just care because you know that what would happen without me. It all comes down, which could be
Right.
true.
Could be true.
Could be true. That could be the very reason why he's doing
we
it.
do know Luthen always Yeah, sorry.
He always has the bigger.
He always
has the
keeps
rebellion.
eyes on people, even his own people, which
Yeah.
has started to rub Bix and Cassian the wrong
Yeah.
way, Mon Mothma the wrong way.
That's right.
How long have you been, like, you heard talking to us? You've been reporting to Luthen? How long?
Yeah.
2 years ago. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it Beskar?
From the
What's
beginning,
his name?
basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Esker.
Esker?
Esker.
So I do think there are things. There's definitely
Yeah.
things where he goes too far, but it made me view him just a little bit different. It made me bring back because I feel like the beginning of the season, even all the first season, it was okay. He's becoming more and more and more like Saul.
Yeah.
He's becoming more and more extreme. He's willing to just take out, do whatever he needs to, and it's getting to a point where it's becoming maybe too far. And even to the point where last week we were thinking maybe Mon was responsible for his death, which still could be the case. We don't know.
Right.
But it got us leading down this path
of
of he's becoming more and more like Saw, to the point where now they kind of, in my mind, brought him back a little bit with some of the credibility of sending Cassian and really following through, having the right intel about Bail.
Yeah.
Who's someone that we would look at as in higher respects of like, what Bail can't have, like,
How could he be?
I couldn't have someone in
Wouldn't make any
Bale's
sense.
thing be corrupt. Well, sure
Mhm.
enough, there's,
Of course.
but it's showing you that everybody has liabilities potentially of people not being able to trust
That's right.
on the inside of their team. So I don't know. I think in that way it kind of brought me back a little bit on Luthen. I still think there's things obviously he goes too far, but
We talked about the American Revolution. But I read the story about George Washington when they were deserters at Valley Forge.
Mm-hmm.
He lined them up and had them shot when they were found. And they said, some of these were not sure that they had deserted.
yeah,
We think some of these were released. And the story is, he said, it doesn't matter. The message that we send here is what matters, because of the hundreds that are standing over here. We need all of them committed to what we're doing. So
yeah.
we do somewhat whitewash our history, and we forget the cost that is paid by those in leadership
Oh yeah,
to gain commitment to the process.
yeah,
A lot of
And
messy
throughout
things you have to
history,
get
we
through.
know that people on the side of good do things in the moment that sometimes we, in the context, feel
Especially
and
in
probably
war.
are
Yeah.
wrong.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But in order to achieve this thing, they cross the lines, and it becomes cloudy.
Yeah.
You know, the line becomes blurred.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Good guys and the bad guys are closer than you think, and Luthen is an example of that, where he crosses the line. But it's funny that Cassian, as he said, the one I can trust, someone I know I can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, despite their differences, Cassian does what he says.
Yeah, he even
Yeah, even that, yeah.
he's always follows through.
He's gonna do what he
He
says.
said, "Yeah, and here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Whenever I need you, you showed up."
Yeah.
and
That was going back to what that Force healer said.
exactly.
Yeah.
Is that what you think? He's making
That's
choices.
what you think? Yeah, he said, "I've just been making my own choices."
Is that what you think? Yeah, here we
Is that what
are.
you've been doing?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's
so
it's
good.
so good. I'll say something I respect about Luthen. His deep voice. I respect that.
It's a
It's
good
a
one.
choice. I think it's all an act.
it's not a choice.
No, no. Something I respect from Luthen is, though, I do respect these leaders that put themselves on the line. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want us to go back to Revolutionary War style tactics where you march out and you're out in the middle there and you just open fire across the field and everyone just kind of, okay, I hope it doesn't hit me.
Keep going.
But there's
Yeah.
something to the fact that George Washington was a general.
Right.
And
Yeah.
obviously we don't get that. We don't have that nowadays, or at least not in our country or anything like that. But when you look at Luthen and even Cassian's like, dude, get out. Like, we got Mon out of here. You've got to go.
You got to go. They've been cut. You
And
can't.
he's like, they will hang you. I'm dead. Like, he's basically like, it's almost like a captain going down with a ship as
Yeah.
far as
Mm.
until everyone's off.
our paths
We're
cross.
here.
Bale is risking the same.
Bale is
By
too.
saying, well,
And
Bale
he
is
says
too.
that.
somebody
Yeah.
has to give.
She said you'd be
we're
a
not ready
hostage.
yet.
And he said, well, we'll hope
They have
not.
to give us time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, you'll be a hostage. It's like, we'll hope
Hope
not.
it doesn't
Hope
come
it
to
doesn't
that.
happen.
Yeah.
But the Luthen, Luthen putting his own neck on the line, which he does over and over. But
Yeah.
when the mask is kind of being
now
revealed,
he's right
now
there,
he's
too.
there,
Mm.
and the Mothma escape is when they know the speech is the moment of there's no return.
That's right.
Yeah,
This is the moment where we no longer hide in plain sight. We are out of here,
and I'm out.
and
I love that Cassian is the one that ends up being
That leads us to Mon
Cassian ends
Mothma.
up being the one to get Mon Mothma out of there.
Mhm.
I love that so
Mhm.
much. One thing I
So
want to
good.
note, this is just a little side note, but did you recognize that the significance of obviously Bale's impact on being, more in this season and in this
Yes.
show? One, it makes sense. Obviously, he and
does.
Mon would have these conversations because
For
they're
sure.
they're the two that are part of the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
But the Gorman senator who's getting arrested and he's yelling, "They come for me now, they'll come for you tomorrow."
Uh-huh.
And the person that's running over there to hear it is Bail Organa.
Pelagana.
And his planet is the first one that gets blown up by
Yep.
the Death Star.
Yeah.
It's literally, he's yelling this out in desperation for other people.
And the Gorman
They came
massacre
for
is
me to-
small.
Yeah,
compared
they
to what's
came for me
coming.
today,
Yeah.
they'll come for you tomorrow. And the one that shows up, that's the center focus of
Mhm.
this scene, is Bail
Mm-hmm.
hearing this information.
Yeah.
Man, it's so well done, so thought out. And
speaking of that, when we were talking earlier about what this show has done really well, how it's a character. What this show has done so well is there's this big masterful storytelling and all these plot points and everything Tony Gilroy's laid out, but it's very character driven. Like obviously the story
Yeah.
is well written. It's not just like, oh, interesting characters. But it's made us care about even the bad guys. Like I'm really interested in which of the villains survive, and I'm
Yeah,
really interested
right. Yeah.
because we've spent so much time with them. And this is what we were talking about earlier about a show versus just like
I
a
felt
2.5
bad
hour
Carton
movie.
couldn't do more good at the end.
I know.
It's
I know.
it's so interesting, and when you look at the when you're talking about small scale versus like a small scale, the effect of the Gorman massacre on us watching it versus Death Star blows up Alderaan. It can be a joke for us looking back of the Luke being more sad about Obi-Wan than he is, or Leia consoling him. But there's a reason why that happened. Now it's maybe a mistake on George's perspective because he
Mhm.
should be conveying also how sad she is.
Right.
But from an audience standpoint, we're more sad about Obi-Wan dying than we are about a billion Alderaanian people that we've never met,
That's
that
right.
we haven't seen.
Mhm.
And this laying it out where it is this much of a methodical, like I loved this show is so confident. Like I like to compare it to like some of these shows like either the major Vince Gilligan Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul of a show that doesn't feel, especially I'd say even more Better Call Saul of a show that doesn't have to get antsy and feel like, I wonder if we'll lose the audience. We need to do something now and rush into,
Mhm.
because this episode, before everything goes down, as far as episode 8, even episode 7, so the episode 7 into episode 8 is such taking its time and previous episodes were laying the groundwork also, but we know now, like, it's Revolution Day. Like,
Yeah.
this is the day that this is
Welcome to the-
happening.
Welcome to the rebellion.
And it still takes until like at least half the episode before
right.
the first thing,
Yeah.
before the first shot is fired. But I'm not sitting there going like, get on with it. It's like they've got the Ferrex. Well, first of all, the Ferrex drums was the opening of in like the title card or when the
Yeah.
episode's starting. So you're like, oh, call back to that.
We're watching all these now because they're all so interesting.
Yeah.
All the openings.
Oh, they're all in
Oh yeah.
I love that
They
they
matter.
change them.
They
Or like
change
this
it,
one
yeah.
that came and it was a white screen at the beginning, and immediately that kind of reminded me of like, oh, when we do have major deaths or when we
Mhm.
have,
Yeah.
I mean, like in Rebels,
Used to be
it goes to the
red
white screen,
or red
or Clone Wars, it goes to
Yeah.
the white screen. We lose
Mhm.
Kanan and Rebels,
Yeah.
it does the white out instead
Yeah,
of
to
just
pay
the Rebels
attention.
blackout.
yeah.
But the way it takes its time, we care more about, again, like I felt more invested in just seeing even some of the Gorman Front like members dying
Oh, I know.
than if they had just like, oh, and by the way, on on the HoloNet News tonight, the Empire invades this planet and blows it up. Like, we would be like, oh man, they're doing. But when you watch it happen, and it's the literal squeezing out of the people, of them being stuck in there, they're locked in, and it being first, it's just stormtroopers are here. Then it's stormtroopers are pushing people in towards the middle. You immediately get uncomfortable in your seat watching it. Of like, oh man, is there any way out?
Element.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
stormtroopers have helmets for anonymity.
Yeah.
As much as anything.
Exactly.
They can carry out evil and
they can do anything.
They don't have to show who they are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It struck me when we're talking about Gilroy, we're talking about Vince Gilligan. There's a reason why J.K. Rowling didn't write the script for Harry Potter. It's a different skill set.
Yeah.
I think we're figuring out now that you can't just take a big movie producer and put him on a TV show.
Yeah.
Because you have novels.
It's a different skill.
I would consider that to be the long form character development.
Yeah.
We have movies. That's the shortest.
Yeah.
And then we have TV shows, and that's the mix.
In between, yeah.
The TV show has to have the character development driving the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't just go from one hit to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
And it takes a special creator, showrunner, to be able to do that well. And they don't. It's a very different skill set. And I still think streaming is just now figuring that out.
Yes, because I think that
because they're thinking, let's make it cinematic. So let's get
that's
a big
the
movie
thing
person.
they've leaned into before.
But you can't do that because the TV, they understand that the sensibility of the pacing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which Tony
You mentioned
Gilroy
Vince Gilligan.
does.
Darth in the chat said, honestly, Andor is Breaking Bad level.
Yeah,
Breaking Bad level to me. Yeah,
and you pointed out
really
something
is.
we've talked about on the podcast before, and we're not the first people to say it. Other people have had the same discussion, but it is something that I think other past Star Wars shows, not all of them, but some that have maybe felt to me that I'm like, oh man, I really like a lot of elements of this, but for some reason, why am I not connecting? And it's because it is, some of those were, like, it's been documented now, a couple of them at least were originally a movie.
Movies.
That they then said, well, we're going to get it greenlit for TV,
Disney
so let's
Plus.
just try to stretch that a little further versus writing television. Is
Writing
different.
a Lost show.
This is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is that.
Even
like,
though it went off,
but this has,
a little bit.
but this has that style as far as, like, this feels like if they had stuck with their original plan, because the original, when they announced the show, the original first few reports about it was that it was going to be 5 seasons. And Gilroy, and they ended up through production and maybe even some budget stuff of how long they wanted episodes. He worked it down to 2 seasons. It was originally going to be 5. And I think that it just would have been instead of 3 episodes and then a jump, it would have been a year. But it feels like he could have done that as well. Like, meaning he has such a grasp as far as his sensibilities as a storyteller, but also the feeling very comfortable in the trenches of just writing compelling television.
For sure.
That he's not just like, oh man, we need to get to this, and now we got 30 minutes. We got to fill out something to explain, how Obi-Wan gets from here to here or what happens along the way, because we need to get to this plot point. Where his is more like, no, the journey is the important thing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
This
this is a story where we already know. I mean, Better Call Saul, we know where Saul ends up, or at least where he ends up to a certain point. And then obviously Better Call Saul goes even further. The important thing is not where does he end up; it's how does he get there.
Yeah.
And so that's what
It's more
Andor
of a
does
why
really
than
well.
a what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's
Which Mon Mothma is a why.
Yeah, that's what I was
How
gonna
did
say.
that- How did that happen?
And this, any show like this is great when I will, and it feels like we're talking about the end of this show because this felt like a series finale.
It was a finale with 3 episodes.
It
Still left
really,
in the
like,
season.
there was so many that, like, I'm like, oh man, I can't believe we haven't done. Wait, we have next week 3 more episodes.
3 more.
But I already know that I'm going to be rewatching Rogue One soon, and I'm going to feel differently about watching some of these characters, even though I already love that movie.
We're planning to pull it up after the episode.
Yeah.
Right?
oh
It's-
yeah,
it's
We're already
gonna
ready
be-
to, like,
I'm going to look at Cassian and just
Go
watch his
straight
whole
into it.
storyline.
Go
It's
straight
gonna
into
be
it.
So good.
Bringing it back to Mon, to going from character or story moments.
Mon
in the
Calamathma?
in the show.
Mon
Mon Mothma thoughts.
Did I say?
I think
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing that I that you see a lot of, and I have a few different thoughts. We'll get to the speech. I think the speech was great. But one thing I liked is that really her escape with Cassian, and her emotion between of the shock of seeing how quickly Cassian is to like make a judgment call and take people out on the way that he needs.
Yep.
Like, and he's trying to get the right intel. He's not just trigger happy.
No.
Are you telling him shooting the driver?
He's like, who's this? Who's
That's
this?
great.
Who's this? That's the driver. Okay, can we trust him?
What's his name?
No,
What's
he's
his name?
no, he's ISB.
Corvus.
Boom.
Corvus, we
It's
found
like,
her.
yeah, and how quick he like
Right.
he's making the judgment call. He's asking the right questions.
Yes.
Can we trust him? No, he's a plant. Okay, boom, he's gone.
And then immediately take my hand,
Take my
and
hand.
she
And
trusts him in that moment
yes.
because of how quickly he
Yeah.
on his feet just
Yeah.
did that to protect her.
Yeah, and I think what I like the way they highlighted it is her reaction to seeing this unfold. The first death when they get kind of trapped there before they're actually out.
Mm-hmm.
Then the driver's death, and seeing Cassian protect her. Her reaction is like she's in shock because she just witnessed someone die.
Yeah.
And I think the impact that
Twice,
has,
too.
yeah, twice.
One upstairs too.
I think the impact that has on her and the beginning of the rebellion and where we know her character becomes of
Yeah.
now calling shots of taking people out,
Mm-hmm.
it's impactful because it shows she's been in this fight, but from such a different scope
Yeah.
than those that have boots on the ground, than Cassian and
You forget because
Luthen.
it's in Star Wars that
You
these
think that-
senators aren't watching people die. That's
No.
probably the first person she's ever seen shot right in front of her, maybe
Yeah.
in her whole life. Like,
Yeah.
like when you're, that's
she's
a different
been a
thing.
part of all this, and even her friend Tay, she asked like, "Do you remember Tay?" She still didn't. She knows that this
Tay.
stuff's happening, but she's not seeing it play out.
Yeah.
she's not seeing the nitty and gritty of the rebellion. She knows it's happening, but
Yeah.
she's not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as she's leaving the Senate, as she's leaving, her people, her world of the upper class,
Mm-hmm.
those that would be viewed as, the protected, essentially, and all of this, as she gives that all up and is leaving, she's seeing this unfold, and she's like recognizing, I'm in. Like, this is what it's
Mhm.
going to be like. This is what it's like. This is what's been going on the whole time.
Yep.
I just haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
I've known and I've been a part of it. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. I think it just highlighted it really well to be like, wow, she really.
I
It
agree.
reminds you that she's not been involved in all of that, even though she's known it's been going on.
Yeah, that's right. I do think it's important to realize that her Cassian's role is not more important,
No.
because Cassian could never do what Mon Mothma did.
No.
No,
not in a
no,
Could
million
never
years.
step into that.
No.
And Luthen makes it very clear, if she goes, it's
We're all gone.
over.
It's all over.
Because the reality is, if you're going to have a voice that unites people, that brings the rebellion together, it's not going to happen by the guy who shoots people.
No.
It's going to happen for the one who has the conscience, the voice of all of the people that can speak the words that bring people together, and that's Mon Mothma.
Mhm.
Her role is so important, and to keep her separate from that,
Yeah.
we mentioned this in the chat. Genevieve O'Reilly is a.
Oh,
I said
Oh
she's
my
a
gosh.
stone cold killer.
she is.
On the screen, it's like what and
Yeah.
the speech is.
Oh,
Gilroy kind of asked. I read an article about him asking about the speech in Rebels.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have to? Can
Yeah.
we go?
A little
And they
different.
were like, "Yeah, go ahead and take
Yeah.
a different path."
yeah.
And they brought it back together by giving Gold Squadron the credit and handing him
Yeah.
off. But the speech that she gives before I love the fact that she's nervous,
Mm-hmm. She's rehearsing
and
it.
then when the
Yeah.
light comes on, it's like you
Boom.
can see her. It's almost like
The emotion.
Severance.
Yeah.
It really
There's a
is.
Severance moment where it's like
Boom.
the senator from Chandrila
And it's
on Mothma.
time.
She goes, and like now she comes out and it's
She's level. She's ready. But I think it shows
Perfect.
it. And it
Perfect.
does, and it shows her the emotion and passion that she has for what she's about to do.
yeah.
She recognizes
Yeah.
in the heat of the moment. Not only is this what I need to do, but I'm there's a part of me that's scared for what's going to come after, but
Mhm.
I'm also there's a part of me that's excited, that's almost longed and
Been-
waited for this
It's
moment.
been finally
Like
I
I've
get
been
to say
waiting
it.
for this moment to
Yeah.
actually take this mask off
Yeah.
and tell them the truth of what I know is going on, but that the Empire is covering up, and what probably others know is going on, but is too scared to go to step up and say anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it, And I think it shows that passion as her being able to kind of dial that back and lock in and be like, there's emotion and passion behind what she's about to do. And even though she's scared, she's still stepping into it and does it comfortably and delivers it so well because she's almost excited about finally getting these words out.
And it is, I think in some ways it's a comment, and it's not on accident. It's a commentary on the current political climate and the current state of the world.
Yeah.
Where both sides say things that suit their needs but aren't true.
Yeah.
And it just now it's taking things that we know are true and saying, no, that's not true. This is true.
And what
the
you
other
say
side
was
says, this is true. And now we're you get to a point where it doesn't matter what anybody says. If they're on your side, it's true.
What was the quote she
Because
said?
they
Of
said
sometimes the ultimate
it's
evil
not.
is the death of truth, or what did
Yeah.
she say? It was
Yeah.
was the
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of the belief that there is a truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people
a
say
truth.
my truth, your truth. That my truth that's called opinion.
Yeah.
My
If it's
perspective.
mine, my perspective. It's not valid. It is valid. But there is, if my truth is that the sky is green, my truth needs to be adjusted to the truth,
Yes.
in my
And-
opinion.
Yeah.
The truth is
that's what
that
Mon
The
Mothma
Wizard
was
of
saying.
Oz is a bad movie.
It's a
Is that
bad
that's what
movie.
you're going with?
Well, Mon Mothma was saying there is
There
there
is-
are things that are true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when we
Yes.
pretend that they're not, we're giving power to people who want to gain it because they're going to manipulate it to their. And when
To
they're
their
saying
liking.
the Gorman Massacre was an uprising, that the rebellion, that the Imperial, they're heroes. That's a distortion of what actually is the truth, what actually
Yes.
happened. Powerful speech, and ends with the monster is Palpatine,
Yeah.
like ahead of the curve. Everybody.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Ahead of everybody.
Head of
Yeah.
everyone.
Puts it exactly in
I
the right place.
absolutely
It's perfect.
loved. As soon as that happened, I was watching it with Taylor, my wife, and I'm like, I lean over, I'm like, she just after all of this, just straight called him out by name in front of everybody. I'm like, that is so
better
empowering. That's so awesome that she
Better run.
actually
Yes,
said
exactly. You're like, get out of there.
the
Crazy.
evil is the head basically is
The
Palpatine.
monster is
the monster
Palpatine.
is
Speaking
Palpatine.
of monsters, how about those K droids?
Man.
Chaos droids were like
Yeah,
it was,
that was
literally
great.
Frankenstein.
It literally was.
Yeah.
And the power that
And
okay,
they're so
the,
emotionless. They're like
the first scene of them kicking the barrier back and
Oh
seeing
my
the person
goodness!
fly, you're
Smash
like,
the girl or whatever, and then throw.
I was like, oh my gosh.
so cool.
it felt like they released the monsters.
They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did.
The-
Release them. Send them out. Or what did he say? Send them out.
Send them out.
Real quick.
That guy was ruthless, by the way. The Scar.
Oh yes.
Oh,
he
yeah.
knew what was happening, and he's smiling the whole time.
That's another thing I like about the show. It's taking people you think are evil, and then saying no.
They're
That's
evil.
evil.
That's evil.
It makes Tarkin look so much worse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Krennic looks so bad, and then it makes Vader look so much worse.
Yes.
Tarkin's like,
Yeah.
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 We
it
think
really-
Dedra's evil.
Yeah.
That's not what it is.
No.
The fact that Dedra showed any hesitation and emotion
Right.
makes her immediately less. Because that was another thing I talked about with Taylor. Was right after I was like, this really
least
highlights
you
how bad
feel-
Krennic is.
Yeah.
Because Krennic's calling the shots and telling him, "Tell me, I know you have a plan. Tell it to me.
Mhm.
Okay, go do it." And he's just like,
And
"This
he
is my achievement. This
enjoys
is my
it.
There's also
I
a
know.
difference.
Boom. And
There's-
even Dedra, who's as they said, I'm in charge of holding the gun. You're in charge of the trigger.
Yes.
Even she's the one pulling the trigger. It's
Mhm.
like she still is
Yeah,
There's
having
also-
a panic attack because of it.
There's also a
Comforting in a
difference
way.
between the people making the decisions and the people who are justifying the decisions or making. Like
That's
we've
right.
said before, even though he wasn't around for this because it was years ago, we can imagine Karn is like, why didn't you people just move? Tarkin said he was landing. Get
Mhm.
out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, get out of the way. And
Right.
Tarkin's like, no, I land on them because they're scum.
'Cause
I don't care about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Tarkin's
They
like,
moved,
no.
I would have moved over here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Tarkin's like, if they were over there, I would have landed there. Yeah.
Tarkin does not
I did
care
it
about
because
them.
I
And
can.
No.
Karn's like, you guys just aren't following the rules.
Just
If you
follow
would
the rules.
follow the rules,
Yeah,
it'd be
so
fine.
naive,
Nothing would
yeah.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Tarkin's like,
Yeah.
no, I'd find
No,
you in
I
your
would
home.
still do
if I
it.
Yeah.
need to.
I
Yeah,
would-
like,
yeah.
and they do. They portray it in this by those who got out are being hunted down. They're like, we're not letting this get out. We're not letting this story. We're not letting the media. We're not letting any of this get out except what we want to get out. And of
Which
course,
is
it gets far enough to
what-
Mon Mothma, but
What Mon said is the truth. They're changing it and
Yeah.
using it as a weapon.
I just want to
which
read.
is why they tease the rebels of her going and doing another speech,
Yeah.
because they say we know they're gonna adjust the broadcast. They're gonna
So
go.
we gotta go talk to
They're
the
gonna
people
go
again.
adjust and cut off everything
Mhm.
that I just said. We
Yeah.
gotta go get more and more out. We gotta
gotta
get
go tell
more
'em.
messages out
Mhm.
and tell the people to let this.
Does
thing
anyone
continue.
else want
It
to
has
get?
to spread so big they can't shut it down,
Mhm.
and that's what happens.
Does anyone else just want to get a subscription to Cassian's mid-rim news column, Guja or whatever?
Guja, yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I just want because he used the character twice
I
now.
know.
That's so
I
great.
love it,
I
and I
know.
also love that every time he says it, people are like, "Don't buy his last
What?
name." He's like, "It's
It's
Guja,
Guj.
Guja,
Guja.
Guja." You're like, okay, interesting.
And then he's
Yeah.
like,
All right,
you'll have to float.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll have a bay for you.
What you mentioned the
I'll probably have to
the
wrap here
K2
in just a
droids.
second, by the
Darth in the
Last few
chat
minutes
says
here.
everyone who played Jedi Survivor knows these droids are the worst.
Man, they are
They're
awful.
tough. Yeah.
way. Some final notes. The
can't wait.
production, insane. Like as far as
Insane.
just even how it looks. When Mon's outside with Cassian and they shoot the driver, and
And
then
they're
they
coming
give
down
us
the
this,
steps?
this, yeah. Then they give us this
Where
like
is that?
back. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm watching
give
it. I'm
us
like,
this
is this
shot.
Sydney, Australia? It looks like the.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are
They
they?
scoot back, and I'm
place.
like, I'm assuming that when they gave us this aerial shot that this must have been digital or something, but it looks so like.
I think
you know,
it's an
I
actual
think part of it
Yeah,
was.
it-
I think
it
there's
looks
elements
so
of it that was
good.
real, but the background and stuff was Coruscant
place.
created.
Yeah.
But I think. a
But
lot
you're
of
like
that,
to look
each
it
of
up.
these,
Yeah.
whether it's Partagaz sitting there and him getting on his little Skype call, and then him looking up, and it's in that massive Imperial white room
Yeah.
and stuff that you're like, where? Like that set is incredible.
these sets are.
Unbelievable.
And obviously we get just going back to Yavin and getting to see like where they bunk in
Mhm.
Yavin, see like their setup of where people are living and
Also, I don't
the
blame.
forest
I
and
don't
stuff.
blame Andor being like, this ain't
I
bad.
know.
It's
Why
not
can't
too
we
bad.
just do this?
I can get used to it here.
Do you
As
think
long as
they'll-
those monsters from episode 1 aren't around
We'll
us.
be okay.
Yeah.
Do you think they ever do a
Monsters.
round table with this crew? But that would be a
Man,
That would
I
be-
hope so.
I hope this. I mean, this crew.
man.
I will
don't
say
know.
this.
It's
I
been
think
so
they'll
long.
do
Easily.
something. They'll do something looking back 5-10 years from now.
Maybe.
Well, they'll get together and they'll go, let's talk about.
I would love a commentary.
Let's talk about
man.
it.
Easily more than any other Star Wars show. This show definitely, I think, deserves. Now, I think there's been incredible acting in a bunch of shows, especially in the films. This show
every
needs to
single
have
person.
multiple actors nominated for the
For sure.
Emmys. For
Yeah,
sure.
every
Genevieve
single
O'Reilly has to be nominated.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Even
Diego Luna's
Luthen.
been
Luthen.
incredible. Yeah, Skarsgård's been incredible.
It's hard.
Nominated
They're all
the first-
competing against each other.
I
I
know.
know.
It's Bex.
Wait,
like,
wasn't
seriously.
Skarsgård
Adria,
nominated
yeah.
the first season?
Skarsgård? He might have been.
Was he
The
nominated?
show.
the
I
first
don't
think
know
he
what the
might have
show.
been.
We have to look
I know
that
the
up.
show was.
Yeah. But yeah, they all.
It's just everyone's
Bix. I mean, all of
Ugh.
them are been phenomenal.
so good. Nate, you want to wrap it for us?
Yeah,
I'm
they
all out
said-
of
Lord
time
says,
here. We'll be
Coruscant
talking
looks,
about this.
Coruscant
for a
looks
while.
so good in the show. It does. Everything looks incredible.
Oh, going back to their safe house too. Like going back to the safe
Right.
Oh, yeah.
house. That was the moment, last moment to discuss, and then we'll
Yeah.
and then we'll have to wrap
And
it.
then we'll wrap.
But there was a brief moment where I thought that when they were there that this was a Cassian turning on Luthen moment.
Could have been. Is
there.
he back
oh,
there?
is he back there? I'm like, why are you gonna go pull out your blaster? Like,
Yeah.
because it was.
Because he
it
still
was-
has it on him.
He was and this
Yeah.
was after everything that's gone down. There's been Mon has already said she's more afraid of Luthen now than anyone.
Right.
And then you get
It's
in there
Will.
and it's Will. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh. And then when she asking is Luthen, she's
Is it Drea? Drea?
Clea's not even like
Clea's like,
Clea's
safe.
not even like, oh great, no, Luthen's fine. She's like, yeah, he made it.
He
He's
made
good.
it. He made it.
He fine. He made it.
Yeah.
But she's even a little bit like she doesn't seem super enthused about Luthen
No.
at this point either, even though she's
No,
worked with him
I-
forever.
okay. Before last thing,
Yeah,
any predictions? Quick predictions for the last 3 episodes.
I think
One,
Luthen dies.
I think Luthen goes out somehow.
Yeah.
Luthen goes out.
I think so.
I think that's.
And I don't know if he ever makes it off Coruscant. If he's still there.
I
'Cause
am
he
happy
made it,
that
he
they
made it
didn't have
sound
to
like he
kill
wasn't
off.
leaving.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's part of what he ends up getting got because
I am happy that we didn't have to see Bix die.
Yeah.
me too.
Because there's a
I
lot of
root for
predictions
that
of all these
character.
people dying.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
we
gonna
don't
go
see
with my
them.
original prediction that Dedra gets a huge promotion to the Death Star.
Oh
The
yeah.
Death Star, and so we know her fate.
That's it.
Could be.
That's how
Kren
that's
to
for her.
Krennic, you did such a great job
Wonderful.
with me.
I want
Go
you to be
the
part of
Project
Stardust program.
This will
Yeah.
be great.
Could be.
Overseeing the production, the final production. of
Someone in chat, Darth in chat says, I think Dedra will finally find Luthen. So her time there is
Oh.
done. You think it'll be a year later.
Yeah.
Her time at Gorman's done,
Done.
and she's been obsessed with finding Luthen
She'll find
from the very
Axis.
beginning.
And
You
Dedra,
think she'll
here's
finally find him?
a
I think
couple
you
of
might be right.
here's a couple of
They kill
vacation
each other.
tickets for you to go to the beach planet of Scarif.
Scarif.
Hope you enjoy your
Enjoy your
stay.
time
Boom.
there.
Just can't get away.
Gone.
Never
right.
can get away
Just
from
explode.
Cassie.
Just die.
But yeah, I think Luthen goes out, and I think that
We
could
have
be
less to predict because they're all
Yeah.
dying.
We'll see Saw on.
Unfortunately, some of the
on
major
Jeddah.
characters we know.
The ones that are question marks are gone now. A lot of them.
We'll get some more K2SO.
True.
Oh yeah, we could see
We
him
get some
smash that
K2SO.
Imperial into the wall.
True. Where?
Um,
Where are they infiltrate? What Imperial place are they
What
infiltrating?
a perfect droid to have too, because
It's a disguise.
they don't know.
The end of this,
Yeah.
I'm really interested in the end of this, the Empire storyline here. As
How it-
to
how it
when-
ends.
how
does
this
it get
wraps
to where
up
it goes.
for Dedra and where, because we do know, we know where Cassian ends up. We don't know where Dedra ends up. We don't
Yeah.
know where
This was
Luthen ends up.
a massive success. Dedra is a hero, perfect
Yeah, she even says we can go
from
do what we
beginning to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can. What will they have her do next?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
noble purpose will she have?
Yeah. Man, I can't wait to see it
So
unfold.
good.
3 more episodes. Like we said, this
Can't believe
seemed
it's
like a
almost
finale, but there's still 2.5 hours left.
Incredible. We get a full
Can't
another
wait.
movie.
Thanks for tuning in. If you guys made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. Same time next week, we'll be here talking about the finale of Andor Season 2, Andor as a series, wrapping up. And then
And the
we'll go
fate
watch
of
Rogue One.
All the future.
And then we'll go watch Rogue One.
Can't make another movie now. They're gonna hate it.
We'll catch you guys next time. And as always, may the Force be with you.
It's high.
It's high.
Why does she get a blaster?
It's
You
high.
want to know the odds of her using
Using
it
it
against,
against
you?
you?
It's high.
It's
very
it's
high.
very
Very
high.
high.
I can't wait to watch Rogue One
Yeah.
now. After
Oh
all this.
man,
Love it.
we've
love
resisted
it.
watching it because
Resisted?
even
You
though
didn't
we're
want
like,
to.
Oh, I want to go. I want to check that point.
Resistance. Wow.
Andor's too good. You're like,
Resisting
I don't
it.
want to go back down to Rogue One.
Come
level.
on.
No, I did see people on the internet, some people who cover Star Wars and stuff, and people going, how am I going to adjust to going back? Someone was like,
How can I?
how can I go
watch-
back to, and they were like, I'm not trying to be mean, but how do I go back to even watching Mando? Someone was like,
Seriously,
it's just a